Welcome coffee friends. Today we're going to be cupping with the Niche Zero grinder, which I'm reviewing. This is the Niche Zero grinder right here, unplugged right now. We'll be plugging it in a moment. And what we're going to be doing is, mostly this is used for espresso, but we're going to be trying it as a cupping grinder since it claims to be easily adjusted between different grind settings and that it's quite good for brewed coffee. Now, first of all, it's a single dosing grinder, so it's perfect for a cupping grinder. In a cupping grinder, you need single dosing and low retention. I'm going to show you. It's set at the espresso. It's set at espresso fineness, which is roughly 12.5 here for me. And I've already established that a French press cupping grind, you twist this so that the dot is back up against the screw that holds the lid. So this is roughly 3/4 of a turn. Very simple compared to most grinders. And now we're going to plug this in and we'll talk some about the mechanics of this cupping. Now, what we have is various coffees with cups and labels and stuff, and what I'm going to do is walk you through how to do a blind cupping. This is completely raw, and I will probably utterly humiliate myself by failing to identify the coffees or mixing them up, etc., etc. The drill today is simple. We have 2 cups for each coffee, one from the Niche, one from the Vario. Now, if I succeed perfectly, I'll be able to, and we will go blind. We will fold these little scraps up, put them inside between the 2 cups here, shuffle, label, and I'll taste. If I do this right, I will be able to pair up for each coffee, and perhaps you can tell which in each pair comes from one grinder and which from the other. To do that at random is a 1 in 60 chance. I will probably fail miserably and you will have a good laugh, which is one of the results I'm hoping for, since blind cupping is usually an exercise in getting it wrong, not right. This is not an ego booster, this is about the coffee. But the point is, after I get it all wrong, we can do a post-mortem and find out how to properly test these grinders so that we can get reproducible differences, which is the whole point of a review. If you're comparing two objects, you want differences that everybody can review. So if I get some weird taste difference, I want you to be able to get the same difference using the same procedure. If I can't, then it's not valid. So we'll start simply by doing this raw comparison and seeing how it goes wrong, and we can all have a laugh and try to figure out how to do it correctly. I've already weighed out some of these coffees. There's 8 grams in each cup. When we fill these to the line with water, that's 120 grams, which is a 15:1 brew ratio, which I like for cupping. What we don't have yet is this honey geisha. This is a Panamanian geisha, not from Esmeralda, but from another, I forget which, and it's honey processed. We have a erg here, the cojera, which is washed, and we have a dry processed Brazil, which is a mildly fruity coffee. I've tasted all 3 before, but this is a completely fresh roast I did yesterday. So, weighing coffee into cups. In case you've never seen this before, you take a scale, you turn it on, and you pour some coffee in until you get it rise. And we're at 7.1, so if you Okay, this is a little slow, and I need to take a couple out. scale is a snooze. It's advertised as a coffee scale, but the response is not rapid enough. But compared to scales from 10 years ago, it's a dream. So. 8.0, there we go. So, now that we have the weighing done, we come to the grinding. So this is the N for niche, cohere. So we take this cup, we put it in here, and we turn on the niche. And we have our grinds, and just to check that I've done everything, yep, that's the French press grind. And we dump it in, and we get a nicely clean cup. And we're going to stay with the niche. Okay, now comes the blinding part. You take this chip and you fold it up. Like so. Now we're going to take a break while I do all the rest. You've seen me do one and you're going to get bored, so we'll turn it off and I'll come back once I've got everything ground. Okay, I'm back. And what we have is the shuffled cups, which we're going to now put in a row and label. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and now all the scut work has been done for blind cupping. The first part of a blind cupping is to smell the dry aroma. And the dry aroma is probably the best way to distinguish between different coffees. That and once the cup is completely cooled. Those are the two ways. When the cup is hot, it's usually harder to tell different coffees apart. It's kind of weird, but that's the way it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to start talking about the dry aroma and seeing if I can pair the different coffees up. There should be no difference in the grinders between the dry aroma, since you're not extracting anything, you're just releasing the vapors from the grind. Okay, this is slightly perfumed. So is this, they're all slightly perfumed, I would think. We may not be able to do anything here. This one's bigger. This one's bigger. This one's a little bigger. Well. I'm sniffing my sweater because that clear out my nose. Well, This is my preliminary pairing based on aroma is this. So we'll see if that's any good. I have 1 and 3, 4 and 5, and 2 and 6. I have no idea if that's going to be good. So that's the first part. Now the next part of the cupping is just to pour the water and wait for 4 minutes. So we're going to trigger the grinder. We're going to run a little extra water into my drinking cup. Okay, and now we're going to fill it. And we have the 6 filled cups that have to steep, so we start this. As you see, a crust forms at the top because the coffee floats. And in a cupping, you just let this crust sit, you don't stir anything. And at the end of 4 minutes, you will use this cupping spoon to break the crust, to clean up the crud. We will check out until the timer is run down. Coffee friends, we're back. We've got about 20 seconds to go before we break the crust. I just want to show you that another thing you're checking during the cupping is the dry aroma, the wet aroma, which is what you're getting off these cups from the bloom. Now, they're very hard to distinguish. Here we are. Cup 2 seems to be particularly strong for some reason, which is typical for the course when you're trying to pair coffee, that one stands out or everything's different. In any case, breaking the crust, I'm going to bring this closer to the lens, is where you just get your nose in here and then use the spoon to push the coffee down. And you're sniffing. We have a slightly swampy smell, which is usual for dry processed coffees. And here we are again. And we have a similar swampy smell. And slightly different smell, slightly fermented. The crust breaking is the nitpicking part of the cupping. This is clean. I think we may have mismatched these. Okay. Well, I think this may match over here. Let's see. Well, this is a little funky too. So, well, unfortunately, even the same coffee, the same grind, can be the most variable just because of 1 or 2 beans being off from cup to cup. Anyway, what we had before was, so let's stay with this. I'm not sure. I usually give preference to the dry aroma over breaking the crust when identifying coffees. But I am very, very unsure about what's going on as of now. Okay, now we're back. So the next thing we're going to do is taste each of these hot. That's the least important part of the cupping. The hot, just the high temperature of the water masks the taste. But it is, you know, it's better than just standing around. So, and this is why you use spoons, because everybody gets a spoon, but everyone drinks from the same cup. So you're using a spoon and doing the famous slurp, and then washing the spoon. So spoon. Well, we're way off. I have a feeling this video is never going to see the light of day. Okay. Okay, so we've done the hot tasting, and I am pretty much baffled. The pairings I had before, everything, going from cup to cup, everything tastes slightly different, which is very usual. But they're all pretty similar, like they could all be from the same coffee and just be slight differences in brewing or grinder or whatever. So using a geisha and an erg and a fruity Brazil probably wasn't the greatest idea, but you know, that's the whole point. We want to look for small differences, and most of the time we're not doing very well. So I'm going to take a pause while the cups cool and discreetly check out and cheat a little bit so that I look brilliant afterwards. Actually I won't, but I'm not very confident of what's going on here. Anyway, goodbye, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes. It's been about 5 minutes or so. I've been sniffing and tasting, and based on that, preliminarily, I've 1 and 3, the first pair I had, I'm pretty confident about. 2, 4, 5, and 6, I really don't know. I've reshuffled them, I've repaired them, but I'm not all that confident about the whole thing. Okay, we're at the point where the cups have cooled. The low-tech cupping tradition for this is just to put it against your arm and see if it's sort of lukewarm baby, you know, baby bottle temperature. And that's the proper temperature to taste the coffee as it cools off. As the coffee cools off, it gets a little brighter, the acidity comes to the fore. The aromatics get better, the sort of bittery, staticky compounds seem to fall by the wayside, which is why it's a little easier to identify cold coffees than warm coffees. In any case, we're going to do this spooning and slurping again. Well, well, these really do taste like herbs. So I'm guessing these two are the cojera. And this this grind, this one, so if that's right, I like this grind just a little bit more than that one, but they're very close to identical. Okay, this is a pretty dull cup. I mean, not dull, it's just, there's nothing distinguished about it. This one actually has some character to it. They're all so mild that they're all mild and subtly different, like various shades of pastel blue. But I think I'm going back to 2 and 6. Okay. I'm trying to learn these 4 coffees, see what's different and what's the same about them. This one's really different from those 2. I'm thinking this is the right pairings. This is what I had for the dry rum as well, so well, this is what I think they are. I think these are the Cochera. I think this is the Brazil, and I think this is the honey geisha. If you have a chance to buy geisha, don't get the honey processed ones. Honey processing sort of dulls the coffee and takes away a lot of what is. I mean, it makes it great for espresso, but for brewing coffee, it just makes the cups a little dull. So that's my guess. Now comes the big reveal. So let's see what we have. And to memorialize this forever, Jim's guess, actual. And we have 1 Cochera, 3 Cochera, 4 Brazil, 5 Brazil, 2 the geisha, and 6 the geisha. There. And now for the humiliating. For the humiliating part. We have. Okay, we have the niche geisha. Okay. Niche and geisha. And we have the V geisha. Okay, well. So after my lecture about how honey processed geishas are dull, it turns out that those are the cups I like the most. So, a partial humiliation. Okay, number 5. Okay, we have the niche Brazil. And we have the the Vario Brazil. Well, and it looks like I confused the, yep, we have the Vario Cochera here. That's number 6. And we have, by elimination, the niche Cochera here. So, major tasting genius. I managed to tell apart coffees from 3 different continents. Wow. But I missed, after saying that I've been finding these geishas dull, they stand out more than the Cochera. As an excuse for the Cochera, I bought these about 6 to 9 months ago, and the greens are getting towards the end of they're getting a little dull. But, okay, now that we've done the blind cupping part, and I've done a pratfall, but not too bad a pratfall, let's have a look, not blind, at the 2 grinders. This time, in each case we've got a match between the 2 grinders. Number 3 is better. So the Vario takes this contest. It's cleaner and more. It's just more clear. But now, I kicked out my big bun with special burrs for this Vario. The brew burrs on this are really good for French press grind. So this is a tough wicket. It's not bad, but the Vario was a little better. Okay, what are we tasting here? Okay, 4 and 5. 4 is the niche Brazil. Okay. The Vario is still a little better on that too, but they're almost identical. I doubt I'd be able to tell them apart blind. Okay, 2 and 6. 2 is the niche Cochera. Okay, that's nice. This is picking up. Talk about auto-suggestion. I really like the coffee now. And this is dull. Wow. Okay, very strange. The niche is definitely better here. In fact, a whole lot better. It's, maybe this, yeah. No, it's a little bit better. Okay, so coffee friends, there you have it, a blind tasting and a comparison. The Vario is heavily optimized towards coarse grinds. This is heavily optimized to espresso. So 2 to 1, you know, a 1 to 2 or 2 to 1 is pretty good. This is definitely a worthy cupping grinder. As you see, I was able to group the coffees correctly. So this did a good job in terms of distinguishing, just as good a job as the Vario. And so that's the main part. As a cupping grinder, you will distinguish the coffees. As the cup cools, the niche had a little bit more body and caramels and stuff, which is great for espresso, not so good for cupping, where you want all of that, all of the taste noise, i.e. anything that most coffees have in common, to be eliminated. But let me see, what else did I want to say? Okay, this is probably going to get edited out because I'm running out of words here, but I know in my head that I did want to say something. Okay, exactly. There is no way I could have told them apart blind. It's obvious I was struggling just to tell the coffees apart, so how the hell could I have told the grinders apart? I could make, you know, tasting them, knowing and having them in order and all the rest of it, you can pick out, when you taste 2 cups of coffee, they are never the same. Never, ever. I've never tasted 2 identical cups of coffee, even when I've done them identical weight, identical water weight, one after the other on the same machine. It just doesn't happen. They're always different. That's part of the charm. So when you say this is better, this is worse, this groups with this, you're sort of bundling slightly different. You're bundling individuals by how close together or how far apart they are. Now when you're not blind tasting, when you're visible tasting, the mind immediately seizes on any difference and ascribes it to the label. So when I'm tasting niche versus Vario, I ascribe the differences to the niche and the Vario. When I'm tasting 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 4, I have no clue what the differences mean. And I get confused and I'm just struggling to match up cups. So there you go. I hope this has been instructive, and I don't know if it's been instructive about the niche or about cupping or about human fallibility, or if you've fallen asleep by this time, but I hope you enjoyed yourself. Bye-bye.